Fantastic Four. Yeah, I forgot that Fantastic Four and Elektra came before X-Men Last Stand. So, but this week I'll be talking about Fantastic Four. And the next week we'll talk about Elektra. And we'll talk about the Rise of the Silver Surfer, and then we'll move back into the X-Men movies. So we'll take a little bit of break from the X-Men movies as part of my Fox series of superhero reviews. This movie is kind of interesting because I started watching this movie. I hadn't seen this movie in a while. I remember it being $5 at Walmart. That's the first time I ever saw this movie. It's $5 at Walmart for the DVD. And of course, when you're a kid, you see this orange rock looking dude. He looks kind of cool, and you're like, all right, I'll check this movie out. And so I bought it, and we went home, me and my mom, and I sat and I watched it, and I don't remember anything about it. That's my first experience with this movie. And then ever since then, you just hear years and years of people talking shit about this movie, about how much it sucks and it's horrible, yada, yada, yada. I'll tell you what, I've always loved the Fantastic Four. Before I even read the comics, I just thought they looked cool when I was a kid. And I was really, really excited for the 2015 Fantastic Four movie. I know, a mistake. Though I was kind of annoyed when I watched the trailers because I saw The Thing, and he's this big rock-looking dude. I'm like, hey, he's not wearing his pants. He's not wearing his blue pants. Why is he not wearing the blue pants? Like, that's not okay. That's wrong. Why is he not wearing the blue pants? And it made me very upset. That was something I was very concerned with as a kid. And then I went to go see the movie. Hated that movie. So yeah, we've never really gotten a great rap with Fantastic Four movies. This one's gotten hated on. The 2015 one was really bad. I was the only one, me and my dad were the only ones in the theater, and we both hated it really bad. It was, I'm not excited to rewatch that one, but we'll get to that. But to be honest with you guys, this movie is not that bad. It's still not good. It still has issues we'll get into, but I want to start off with the positives because I actually think quite a bit works in this movie. I would say the first 30 minutes to 45 minutes are pretty decent of this movie. Like when these guys first get their powers and they're discovering their powers and they're living together and they're trying to figure this stuff out. Some of it is played a little bit too goofy and has the wrong tone and balance to it. But for the most part, it's pretty solid and kind of close enough to the dynamic you'd want from this that I actually think it's not that bad. And then you got a pretty good scene where the Thing goes to, well, I guess Ben goes to see his wife and shows him the monster he really is, and she's horrified. That scene I remember being more impactful than it was, but I think that's a good concept for a scene and definitely one of the better scenes in the movie. Stuff like that. If they kind of played into the emotional aspects of what these powers are dealing with and what brings them together as a team, which I don't think they do well enough, but they still try. And when they do, I think it actually is pretty effective for the most part. I think where this movie falters is the stuff that everyone complains about. Doctor Doom is really shitty and just really bad in this movie. His motivations for being evil are just stupid. He looks bad and he's not very good in this movie. Some of the early 2000s datedness is annoying. And the goofy tone, though I don't think this movie is as goofy as some people made it out to be. I think it just maybe looks goofier because the movie was made in the early 2000s and some of the effects don't hold up anymore. And so I think people have this memory of it being goofier than it actually is. It's still not, very good though. This movie is not horrible, guys. It's just mediocre and it's not very good. And honestly, I get why they went for a goofier tone because this is coming off of the heels of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. That movie was a big hit. Having a goofier tone and vibe to it was probably a smart idea because of the, success of that movie at the time. And so I kind of get why they went that route. They just needed someone like Sam Raimi who is better at directing that kind of movie. And unfortunately, Tim Story is not the guy for that. He's not horrible, but he's also not as good as you would expect him to be. So, yeah, I think this movie is definitely crapped on a little too much. It's definitely like not one of the better superhero movies, but it's also not one of the worst. It's like it's kind of just in the middle. It's just kind of there. Like this is a perfectly watchable movie that I would say that if you sat down and you watched this movie, you wouldn't hate it, but you also wouldn't love it either.